Alright, so today we're going to talk about Kuroko no Basket's Generation of Miracles. And where does Kise Ryota rank amongst them? Now, a lot of people will say that Kise is the strongest because of Perfect Copy and the Zone. However, I still think that Akashi and Aomine are both better and stronger than Kise is. Now, I know that Midorima says that Kise with Perfect Copy and Zone is the strongest person on the court. Now, there's a little context that people are forgetting, and the fact that it's not a fighting anime where it's just cut and dry, where somebody says you're the strongest, well, you're the strongest, point blank, period. So, when Kise enters the zone with perfect copy, everyone notices it, and then Midorima even states that as of right now, Kise is the strongest person on the court. And he cooked, honestly, put the entire team on his back to give them a break, dunking left, right, and center. But realize he's talking about that moment, and it is in that moment that he is the strongest on the court. Like, when you're playing ball and you have that one guy who's going off at that moment, which would make him the strongest guy on the court at that moment, it doesn't necessarily mean at all times, it's just that moment. So yeah, that's what was happening. And the reason why he was doing that was to give everyone a break. You see, before Kise was in the zone, him and Almini were double teaming Silver. The double team was doing well, but it caused two big problems. First one being pretty obvious, when you double team somebody, you have to leave another guy open. And with Almine and Kise both leaving one guy open, this forced Murasaki Bara to guard two people. They were doing step backs and passing the ball well, so Murasaki Bara was unable to handle it by himself, which didn't help the lead shrink. And with that, Murasaki Bara became tired because he had to guard two people. Second problem, which was caused by the double team, the second problem that was caused by the double team was that it was exhausting both Almine and Kise's energy. You see, to be able to double team Silver, Aomine had to enter the zone, and Kise had to use perfect copy to copy the effects of zone from Aomine. It was doing pretty well, but as time went on, it was getting exhausting. And Kise realized the problem with the double team with leaving the other guy open. He then told Aomine to guard the other guy and he would deal with Silver. Aomine left the zone to guard the other man, and Kise was all alone guarding Silver. So Kise went into the zone to make sure that his teammates had enough time to semi rest while they were playing, and he carried the offense and was hustling on defense. So, in that moment where no one else is in the zone but Kise, and Akashi hasn't finished calling out his other personality to unlock the Emperor's Eye, yes, you could say that Kise is the strongest person on the court in that moment. But like I said before, he was cooking in that moment. He was the best in that moment. That doesn't mean he is the strongest out of the entire generation of miracles, point blank, period. This just means that he is the strongest right now. I hope you guys understand what I was trying to say with that. Anyway, with all that being said, let's move on to the matchups. First one we're going to talk about is Aomine versus Kise. Now, with Aomine and Kise, both of them are great players. There's no denying that. That is why they were a part of the Generation of Miracles. And the biggest thing with the end of the series is that Kise is able to copy all of the Generation of Miracles playing styles and abilities. This includes Almine's street ball playing style. But there are a few things I believe while watching the series, Kise is unable to copy. First thing being is how natural basketball is to Almine. Almine has been playing basketball since he was young, playing against older guys in street ball. And since basketball is so natural to Almine, he was able to beat those older guys and try out new random moves, like throwing the ball behind his back, hitting a reverse layup from behind the backboard, basically jumping awkwardly off one leg, doing a fadeaway while guarded heavily, chucking chucking it with one hand and just making it seem effortless, and doing that consistently. And although Kise is able to copy and imitate Almine, it's just not as natural, and it also takes a toll on Kise's body when he is trying to do that. Now, the thing with street ball is that it's a combination of multiple playing styles of basketball meshed into one. So the different ways you play basketball and the different playing styles of basketball is all meshed into one to create street ball. This makes for the most randomest moves that you will ever see in a basketball game. Stuff you will never see in the NBA or overseas. This is stuff that you will only see at a random gym or on a court outside. And since Aomine is able to use street ball so effortlessly, he would be able to create new moves to counter Kise copying all of his abilities. Another thing I would say Aomine has over Kise is the way that Aomine is able to adapt to another person so quickly. The rate that Aomine is able to adapt to another player's playing style is honestly crazy. And this is especially when he is trying. When Aomine was first going up against Kagami, it didn't take long for him to adapt to his playing style and his jumping ability. So with just raw talent, he was able to basically demolish the Seirin team. And although it was imperfect at the time, Kise was able to copy Aomine's abilities. And not only Aomine's, but the rest of the generation of miracles. While Kise is copying Aomine's abilities, he noticed how to counter it and steals the ball, and then from there it's kind of just wraps. And Aomine is adapting quickly while not even in the zone doing that. So in the last movie, even if Kise and Aomine were to go head to head with Kise using zone and perfect copy and Aomine using zone, I still think that Aomine would win just because he would be able to adapt to Kise's playing style, especially if it were a sanctioned game. In the zone, everyone is kind of on the same level. It kind of just comes down to your skills and playing style and abilities. And although Kise is able to use multiple abilities and playing styles from the Generation of Miracles, I don't think it would affect Aomine much. And to add to that point, even though Akashi and Aomine never played each other, Aomine is still regarded as the best player on the Teiko middle school team. He was better than the rest of the Generation of Miracles, becoming their ace. So Kise using the Generation of Miracles skills and abilities wouldn't really amount to nothing because he's already better than those people he is copying. So yeah, Aomine I believe is still better than Kise. Now that I've already covered Aomine versus Kise, let's move on to Akashi versus Kise. Now, while Kise was in the zone while using perfect copy, Akashi was trying to talk to his inner self to get him to come out and use the Emperor's Eye. And for those of you who have not watched Kuroko no Basket, and for those of you who haven't watched Kuroko no Basket, Akashi is the former point guard of Teiko Middle School and the current point guard of Ruzan High School. And he has two split personalities. Now, don't get me wrong, Akashi is an amazing player who is better than most. But the real talent and power comes from his second personality. The other Akashi has the Emperor's Eye, which is an observational ability to predict his opponent's movements, being described as basically being able to see into the future. The other Akashi, like Aomine, is able to force himself into the zone. Kise is able to use Perfect Copy to get something similar to Emperor's Eye. It's not as good, but it is still effective. Also, Kise is unable to enter Zone Level 2, which is the second zone that only Kagami and Akashi have been able to enter in the series. Zone Level 2 is basically the same as the regular zone, but just gives them better amps. And while in Zone 2, Akashi was not only to enhance himself, but also to enhance the people around him on his team and get them into the zone themselves. Kise using Perfect Copy to copy the effects of Zone already takes a major toll on his body, making him unable to use it for a long time, at least in a basketball game aspect. So even with Perfect Copy and being in the zone, I don't think he'd be able to copy the effects of Zone 2. Because if he were to try, I just don't think his body would be able to handle it at all. And in the last movie against Jabberwock in the fourth quarter, Akashi goes up against Nash, who has the Belial Eye. The Belial Eye is similar to the Emperor's Eye, which Akashi has, but instead of being able to predict the movements of one person, Nash is able to use the Belial Eye to predict the movements of everyone on the court. This makes Akashi realize that his Emperor's Eye is incomplete, and through his alternate personality finally disappearing from existence, he gets his complete Emperor's Eye. With this, not only is he able to see everyone on the court and be able to predict everyone's movements like Nash's Belial eye, he is also able to see farther into the future. Like I said before, Kise can barely maintain perfect copy and the zone, and I don't think he'd be able to copy Zone 2 from Akashi. And if Akashi is in Zone 2, plus has the complete Emperor's Eye, I think it's wraps. Don't get me wrong, Kise is a great player. He's one of the best. However, he's not beating Aomine or Akashi. Hell, you can even try to make a case for Murasaki Bara being better than Kise just because of the height difference. I mean, the dude is 6'10", but I'm not gonna get into that today. Anyway, what do you guys think of this topic? Do you guys think Kise is better than the rest of the generation of miracles, or do you guys think he is not? And if you guys can come up with a better argument than just that one statement in that moment, then please stitch me in a video or tag me in some or write it down in the comments below. Alright, I'm out. Peace.